I'm going to fill in the worksheet for example 3, and you can follow along, go back, rewind, see if you can pick up the various elements of inserting and editing these graphs. Remember, there's many ways to do the same thing, so I'm going to show you one of them, and in some cases I'll show you alternate ways of entering the information, but again, realize that there's lots of ways you can do this, and how you do it doesn't really matter, but I'll try to show you what kind of some of the ways I prefer. Let me do the first thing and make sure that I put my name in there. So always make sure that you have your name on these documents electronically. The next thing I want to do is fill in this table. So I'm going to enter a formula. What I want to do is to make temperature in Kelvin from temperature in degrees C. I'm going to add 273. So to do that, to enter a formula, I click on this top row, enter an equal sign, type in 273.15, and then add what's ever in element A7. So I can type in A7 or I'm sorry, A10, or I can just click on it and it'll insert, and then I hit return. I can go back up to that equation, pull on this black square, and that'll copy and paste. So as you can see, as I toggle through here, the element changes from A10 to A11 to A12 and so on. So that's what copying and pasting does. The next thing I want to do in column D is take the inverse, or 1 over the temperature. So once again, I enter an equation, equals 1 divided by, click on this cell, and that enters C10 into the element, and I hit return. And let me go over to row E and take the log of the rate constant, which is in row B, so equals the function for log, natural log is ln, parenthesis, click on B10, close parenthesis, and hit enter. And now what I'm going to do is show that I can copy and paste these things together. So again, I could hit copy and paste, or I can highlight those two and drag this black square down, and it fills it in. And you'll notice sometimes I lose my formatting. Here I lost a line, here I have too many lines. So what I'm going to do is, before I make the graph, is edit this. So the first thing I want to do is highlight this, remove all borders, and then go and add a border to the outside, do the middle one, add a border, and now I'm back to where I want to be. Okay, now that I have the graph with the numbers in it, or the table with the numbers in it, let me add a graph. So to do that, I'm going to click on this top menu, Insert, go to Scatter, Symbols. Let me go to this first layout number 1, so I can add axes labels. And let me go ahead and edit this quickly. I don't want these, I don't want a title or this series, but I want to keep my axis titles. Okay, I don't have any data in here yet, so let me right click on the figure, select data, and I'm going to edit. And the quickest way to do this is to go to these series X values, click on this box, and grab the values for the X. Don't grab the text box at the top. For the Y value, I'm going to select column B, and then hit this square again, and now I can see that my X and Y values are in D and B respectively, go through 10 through 14. So click OK. And that's essentially my graph. However, I want this to be on log scale. So let me first go right click the Y-axis, and let's format that. And what are the various various things we're going to format. For 1, we're going to make that a log scale. For 2, we don't want it to cross at 1. We want it to cross at 0.01. We also want to have a minimum value of not 0, but of 0.002. I'm sorry, that's the wrong axis, so that's good for that. I want to have some tick marks, so let's add some minor tick marks to this, and we're going to have that go inside. So I think that's approximately done. Now let's do the x-axis, and you can see we have a lot of white space, so I'm going to have my minimum at 0.02 rather than at 0. But let's format that. We're going to add some tick marks again, minor tick marks inside. We're going to fix the minimum at 0.02. We want to have the maximum to be 0.04, so that's good, and these increments are good, so we'll hit OK. Let's see, our minor tick marks didn't show up. Let's go back and format that again. Minor tick marks inside. Okay, all right, so there we have that. Let's put a box around this. Whoops. Format the plot area. Border color line. Okay. Oops, that didn't work. Solid line, not no line. All right. What else do we need? We need a y-axis change. We want the y-axis to be 1 divided by t, parentheses 1 over k. And we're going to do that in Times Roman, so I can grab these various fonts. Let's go down to Times Roman. And there we go. Now let's do the x-axis. This will also be Times Roman. Now it appears one of these frequently used ones. I don't have to find it again. And I want it to say rate constant k 1 over hours. And let me move back. I can actually use the arrow key to move back, the shift key, move back one more time. It highlights it, and hit italics. All right, so I have that. Let's see, what else do I want? I'm actually going to, let's go back and format the lines on here. Let's go to number, and we want to have 4 significant figures. And I can hit enter or close, and now I get my numbers to look like in the example. Alright, now let's add a trend line. Click on the data, right click, add trend line. Now this, as you can see, linear is the default. It's certainly not linear, it's exponential. That goes through the data. I don't want to set the intercept, but I do want to display the equation, and hit OK. And I can move that up. I can see it a little bit better. Let's change the, let's format the trend line so that trend line label, so that my numbers are scientific and have 2 significant figures. Alright, so now that's looking a little bit more like my graph. However, I don't want this to be a y, I want it to be a k. I want it to be italics, so I'm going to shift backspace to highlight that. Go to home, italics, and let's go up in the this, and this is going to be not x but 1 over t, so I've got to actually format that, and now that's looking more like my example. And let's save. And that there's my first graph. Okay, let me create the second graph in this example. Now again, I could just start exactly the way I did before, but since a lot of this is the same as the last one, I'm going to just copy and paste it. So let me highlight. I'm going to go up here, copy, below it, paste it. Okay, I'm going to remove this label. I'm going to remove the trend line, and I'm actually and this is going to be on I'm going to remove the log scale right away, so format the axis and take away the log scale. Alright, so now also I'm not going to plot the rate constant, which is in row or column B, but the log of the rate constant, which is in row E. I need to go back and right click on the select data series, and I'm going to edit that. Now I could go and click this again, or I can go in here and just change the B to an E. So let me do that one just to show you the other way to do it. And B to an E, and there we go. Okay, now a little cleaning up to do. One is, this is not the rate constant, but it's the log of the rate constant, so I'm going to add ln square parentheses, arrow it to the back, square parentheses. Alright, that gives me the correct label. I'm going to make sure the y-axis crosses not at 0, but at 0.6. So where is that? The crossing occurs at -6. Hit OK. What else needs to be changed? I think that's the main thing. Now let me add the trend line. So I'm going to right click, add a trend line, and now this linear is correct because now I'm plotting the log, or I'm fitting the log of k versus 1 over t. So that's good. I want to display the equation again, but not the intercept. Close, and let me bring this up, and I can use, whoops, grab it, move it just a little bit higher to get it out of the, and there we go. I've got two looking very similar. If I want to change the format on this, I can again go up here and make that Times Roman, and there we have it.